Hi everyone, today we're going to look at the applications of area. So before we do that, we're going to look at the area of a few of the familiar shapes that we learned in the last couple of days. So let's start with the area of a parallelogram. So remember, the area of parallelogram is base multiplied by the height. 14.3 multiplied by 8. The answer is 114.4 centimeters squared. Remember, this is the base. This here is the height. Okay, the next shape is a circle. So remember, the area of a circle is pi multiplied by the radius multiplied by the radius again. Pi, remember, is 3.14 multiplied by the radius, which is 7 here. So we can multiply by 7 twice. 153.9 centimeters squared. The last one here is a triangle. So just like the parallelogram, we have to do base times the height, but this time we have to divide it by 2. Okay? So we're going to have 22.8 multiplied by 19 divided by 2. You get 216.6 meters squared. Once again, remember, this number here is the base, and this number here is the height. Okay, for our next example, we're actually going to delve into the application of these kind of shapes. It says you want to paint the 4 walls in your family room. The rectangular room measures 4.8 meters by 5.5 meters. I'm going to highlight these two numbers so I know that the dimensions of the room. And the ceiling is 3.1 meters high. So the first question asks us to draw 2 different size walls and label the dimensions. So what we have is, remember, the walls of the room are in the shape of a rectangle. Okay? So if you think about it, the first wall in the room will be 3.1 meters, because that's how high the wall is, by 4.8 meters, because that's the length of the room. And the second type of wall that you're going to have is going to be also having the height of 3.1 meters, because that's, again, the height of the room, and the length of 5.5 meters, okay, because that's this other side of the wall. If you're trying to picture what's going on here, is that you're going to have a room that in a 3-dimensional shape, it's going to look like this. Okay, I'm trying to do the best I can to draw a 3D shape here. So basically, the wall is going to be always 3.1 meters. But on this side, you're going to have 4.8 meters as the width. And here, you're going to have 5.5 meters as the length. Okay, so that's why we have 2 different kind of walls. The question B asks us to calculate the total area that you will need to paint. Now, obviously, when you paint, you're going to paint the walls. Well, how many walls do we have? We have this wall right here, right? That's one wall. I'm going to use a different color. We're going to also need to paint this wall here on the side. But notice that this wall here at the front is also at the back, if you think about it, because you need to paint the back wall as well. And this wall that's labeled red here is also on the other side. So basically, you have 2 blue ones and then 2 red ones. Okay, so what you got to do is to find out the area. If you want to find the total area, right, you will need to do 2 times the area of the blue walls plus 2 times the area of the red walls, right? Because there are 2 of them. Now, let's think about how we're going to calculate that. Well, the area of the blue wall is basically this wall right here, right? Because it's 5.5 by 3.1, so we just do length times width, so 5.5 multiplied by 3.1. But we need to add that to 2 times the red wall. Well, the red wall is 4.8 by 3.1, so it's basically the area of this rectangle here. So we just have to do 4.8 multiplied by 3.1. Okay, and if you actually do all that calculation and type all that into your calculator, you should get the answer 63.86 meters squared. Okay. The last question asks us, if a can of paint covers 38 meters, how many cans should you buy if you plan to do 2 coats of paint? Okay, so I don't know if you're familiar with painting, but usually we paint the walls using 2 coats in case one coat is not enough. So the area that needs to be covered, right, that by the paint has to be 63.82, 63.86, which is the area that we found earlier for all 4 walls. But because you need to use 2 coats of paint, you need to multiply that by 2 to get 127.72 meters squared. Okay. Now, because we want to figure out how many cans do we actually need, so the number of cans of paint that's required would be the total area that needs to be covered, which is 127.72 meters, divided by the amount of the amount of area that the 1 can actually cover. In this case, actually, it should be 38 meters squared. Okay, sorry about the typo there. So if you do that, that will give you about 3.4. But this means that 3 cans is not enough. So you actually need 4 cans to paint the wall. Okay, so there you go. All right, let's say that you have for the next question, you have a circular patio that you want to redo in the backyard, and the diameter is 4.9 meters. What's the area of the patio? So here we have a circular patio, so a circle, and they tell us that the diameter is 4.9. So let's label that as 4.9 meters, and they want us to calculate the area of the patio. So they want us to find the area of this big circle here. Remember, the area of the circle is pi multiplied by r times r again, 3.14 multiplied by, but wait a minute, we don't know what the radius is in this situation. So we have to actually calculate that first. Remember, the radius is just the diameter, 4.9, divided by 2, right? So if you do that, you should get the answer 2.45 to be the radius. So you just basically plug that into the equation here. So 2.45 multiplied by 2.45, those are the radiuses. And you're going to get 18.8 meter squared. Okay. Same thing over here with a triangular flag. So here we go. Let's draw a triangle quickly here. You have 24 centimeters as the base, so 24 centimeters here. And the height here is 60 centimeters. And they wanted to know how much material is needed to make this flag. So again, that's basically asking us to find the area. So we know how to do that there. Base times height divided by 2 for triangle. That would be 24 times 60 divided by 2. You get 720 centimeters squared. Okay. Okay, couple more to go. Number 5 asks us, you want to recarpet your square living room that has sides of 4.72 meters. So let's draw a square here, and they tell us that the they tell us that each side is 4.72 meters, and they also tell us that the carpet costs $12.78 per meter. So what we need to do here, first of all, is to find out the area of the square, because we know that in a square that all sides are the same. So it's basically just 4.72 multiplied by 4.72, right? Length times width. And if you do that, you're going to get 22.47 meters squared. Now, to find out the actual cost, all we have to do is take the area that we just calculated, 22.47, and multiply that with the cost per meter, which is $12.78 per meter. And if you do that, you should get the answer $287.17. Okay. Last one, the area of a parallelogram. There you go. So let's try to draw that in. This is a parallelogram, and you have it tells you the area is 136 centimeters, should be 136 centimeters squared, because we're talking about an area. It also tells us the height is 19.4. So what they're saying is that from the distance from the top here to the corner here at a 90-degree angle, this is 19.4 centimeters. And what they want us to find is the base of this parallelogram. So we know the formula for a parallelogram is the area equal to base times height, right? But we are trying to find a base here. So what we have to do is to rearrange the formula a little bit and say the base is actually the area divided by the height, because multiplying and division, they're opposite operations. So if we want to get this variable base, b, we actually have to do the opposite of what we did before. Okay, so in this case, area is 136 divided by the height, which is 19.4, and you will get 7 centimeters. And that's exactly what the height, what the base would be, 7 centimeters.